First of all, I just have to apologize. I have lost my voice. The allergies are really bad here in Missouri, so I
Yeah.
apologize for my voice.
No apology necessary. I have allergies too, so I know exactly what you're going through.
All right, Stephen, let's dig in about Art Detectives. Tell us some about the premise of this show. It looks so fun.
I've been a fan of detective drama for a long time. I've always really wanted to do one. I've played a lot of psychopaths in my time. It's really nice to play sort of a nice human being, um, albeit a bit of a geek. Uh, it's it's based on a real life department within the British police force, which is a three-man department, the smallest department in the whole of the country. But in our version, it's only one person. It's my character, Detective Mick Palmer. And he's been doing it for a long, long time. And then in the first episode, he meets this young police constable, played by a lovely, lovely actress called Nina Singh. And he invites her because she has this awful misogynistic boss. He invites her to join him. So from then on, from episode 2 onwards, she's with him the whole time. And they investigate everything from fraud to theft to antiquities to a Viking hoard that's dug up to vintage wine that has sort of surfaced and doesn't feel like it's quite authentic. And in episode 5, we go to the Titanic because there are artifacts being brought up from the bottom of the ocean, I'm sure you're well aware, that people are forging as well, and they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we sort of cover the gamut of ideas. And the extra little added wrinkle that we find out is that his estranged father is a world famous art forger. So we sort of understand why my character Mick has gone in a different direction, because he thinks that forgery is a sort of abomination, but it all comes from his difficult relationship with his father.
It all comes back to childhood trauma, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does. Luckily, Larry Lamb, who plays my dad in the show, is a dear, dear friend of mine, so that wasn't too traumatic.
Okay.
But the scenes are.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I love history. I'm a history buff. And so that's why this show interested me, because I'm like, this looks like the show where I can enjoy myself, but I also am going to learn a thing or two. Can we expect that?
Yes, you can. Uh, it's one of the things that I find really interesting about being, for example, a forger, is just how much work you have to do in order to create an authentic fake. You almost have to be a better artist than the original artist, because you might not just say specifically be able to paint like Picasso. You might be asked to do a Vermeer. You might be asked to do a Walter Sickert. You might be asked to do all sorts of different things. And then in that example that I'm giving, you have to source a canvas and a frame and a brush and paints and varnish from that period in order to be able to paint and for it to be authentic. So there's a lot of work, and you sort of end up, when you start reading, you end up with this extraordinary respect for the people who have done it and done it well and got away with it. And there must be almost, for example, like a sort of serial killer collecting trophies. It must be like that sort of thrill when you have got your Mona Lisa up in the Louvre and people think that your one is the real one. Like, the thrill that comes from that must be sort of extraordinary.
I want to ask too, something you said in there was an authentic fake, which to
Yes.
me is like so mind
Yeah,
blowing.
I know. So what a lot of these forgers do is they go to estate sales, right? Or so somebody's died and they're getting rid of their paintings. And what they will do is they will find a painting that's not very famous and spend a couple of thousand buying a painting from, I don't know, let's just say 1870, right? But if they get that painting, then they can paint over it. They can paint onto that canvas, and the canvas is the original 1870s canvas. So then they can paint a painting from that period using that canvas and that frame that's
Yeah.
holding it, and you can do an authentic fake because it's of the period.
That blows my
I
mind.
know.
So
There's also like historically, to answer your question, in the second episode, it's a Saxon hoard. It's a bunch of stuff that's been dug up from the ground, and which is worth thousands if you're the person who's found it. And of course, there's these huge factions of people like, whose land is it where you
yeah,
dug it up? Who has the rights to it? Who gets to sell it? Does, because you have these collectors all over the world who want this stuff, who don't want anybody to know that they're buying it. But you've also got like big museums wanting that stuff because it's authentic. So it's the fight between those different rival factions as well is sometimes what we investigate.
that is so fascinating. This is the kind of detective show we've been wanting. It's like we don't need like the murderers and all these other people. Like give us the art people like that are doing the stuff behind the scenes. Like it
Yeah. I got to sort of do a lot of research. And Larry, who plays my father, who plays the forger, was just sending me daily, like 3, 4 different like things daily, because globally, on a global level, these thefts and these forgeries are being found every day. It's incredible.
So has this like I don't know if you were into art before, but has this expanded your love of art? Like I expect there to be great art now in your home, in the Moyer home, because like you're like I know so much about it. I got to get my
Well,
collection better.
I can tell you this. The production department are absolutely fantastic, and they painted a Vermeer, a Walter Sickert, um, some sort of ancient 18th century stuff, and so if I want a Mona Lisa in my house, I can have one because they're amazing.
Perks of the job, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely incredible. I'm excited to watch this. I really think it's going to scratch an itch for a lot of people that's
it's
interesting that
it's
we haven't
really
seen done.
it's really lovely. It's a nice British cozy crime drama, but it's about something that you've never seen one about before.
Yeah. All right. Well, when your home's an architectural digest, I expect to see the most brilliant arts on the walls.
We collect a lot of photography, and what was interesting was I have to be honest, I love art, but Anna and I are very obsessed with photography. But I I would love to do what Hugh Grant did and find a painting and then it get bought for like 15 times the amount 10 years later.
That's such a Hugh Grant thing too, isn't it? Only Hugh
Yeah,
Grant. Like, come
yeah.
on.
It's best. He I think he describes it as the best thing he ever did.
It's not Love Actually. That's not the best thing he ever did. What?
I think he bought the an Andy Warhol for like 1 million when he was very drunk, and 10 years later he sold it for 15 million.